A bipartisan group of more than a dozen U.S. senators are also here in Munich as the Codell McCain, so named in honor of former Senator John McCain. He was a leading participant here every year at this conference for decades and decades. Maine Independent Senator Angus King serves on the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees and joins me now. Senator, let's start with Ukraine. You heard from President Zelensky. His concerns are that the ammunition, the weapons get there in time in this war of attrition.
And exactly.
That means by next month.
That's the question I've been asking. I'm worried that the Russians are winding up for an offensive, and the new weapons, particularly the Leopard tanks and the Abrams, aren't going to get there in time. So that's the issue. And I just finished a meeting with the German foreign minister, and that was my message: hurry up.
Hurry up. And the Patriots aren't delivered yet. Poland has the Patriots. We know that the troops are being trained. The Ukrainian troops are being trained.
These high-tech weapons you just don't jump into and operate. So the training is the time lag. But I think everybody realizes that time is of the essence.
Do you agree with the administration and with our allies that jet fighters are not necessary? I know that President Zelensky wants jet fighters, but that they would be sitting ducks on the tarmac, and that's not the most important weapon right now.
I think the most important weapon right now are those tanks, because the war that's going on is a kind of World War I trench war in the East, and I'm not sure about the issue. The calculation is always arming versus escalation, and the danger, of course, with jet fighters is, if an Ukrainian pilot decides to take off into Russia, then that's clearly going to be an escalation. I think the administration's handled it well.
Let me ask you about China. And we just interviewed Mike Turner, the House Intelligence Chairman, who believes they should have shot down that China balloon before it got to the continental United States.
I disagree. Number one, just without revealing classified information, the administration determined, A, that it didn't carry a bomb or any explosive, and two, that they could mitigate any intelligence collection. I believe that if the president had shot that thing down over Montana and thousands of pounds of steel had rained down on Bozeman, the same people who are criticizing him now would be saying he acted too soon, he put American lives at risk. I think as long as they mitigated the risk of national security, letting it go over the ocean, bring it down where we can recover it, and a large part of the debris has been recovered, we're going to learn a lot. And we learned a lot from it as it went across the country.
Was the president too trigger happy in shooting down the three other balloons that were probably, he now says, benign, research, academic, private?
Well, you know, these three aren't the first of these kinds of things that have gone over our country. I think there was a difference. Here's the difference. The Chinese balloon was at 60,000 feet. That's well above commercial airspace. These items, whatever they were shot down, were at 20 to 30,000 feet. That's a hazard to navigation. That's a hazard to commercial aircraft. So I think the president was justified in shooting them down.
But if these were not the first, why shoot them down now, other than that there was a political uproar over the Chinese balloon?
Well,
we didn't shoot any others down.
I think, frankly, we're getting better at spotting them. You know, there was a period where we were all focused on missiles and ballistic missiles and high altitude, and frankly, I think there was a gap in our visibility.
How important is it for Tony Blinken to talk to Wang Yi here, perhaps tomorrow when they'll both be here, and to have excuse me, it's very cold out here, the president talk to President Xi and get this relationship back on track?
It's very important, but I'll tell you what really worried me. When the balloon incident was going on, Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, tried to call his opposite number in China. They wouldn't answer the phone.
That's really concerning, because you need those military-to-military contacts.
And you know, you've got to be able to de-escalate if it's an accident or if it's not intentional, because one person's deterrence can be viewed as the other person's provocation. So I find that very disturbing, and I hope Tony Blinken can meet here and the president can get back on track. But this business of not answering the phone and not allowing these kinds of lower-level contacts to de-escalate tension, I think, is very dangerous.
Now, China has so many different platforms that they're spying on us and invading our privacy. What about TikTok? You have co-authored a bill with Marco Rubio from the Intelligence Committee to ban TikTok.
Well, the way I think of it is, we had all this to do about this balloon. How about 62 million Americans carrying around a device that could be a pipeline to Beijing? Here's the issue, Andrea. The Chinese government has a law that any private business has to share whatever data and information it has with the Chinese government upon request. Holy smoke. I mean, that gives them access, and I'm not saying that they're doing it now, but they could have access to GPS information from everybody's phone, what people are looking at. There's also potential for disinformation. Our bill doesn't say ban it, it says ban it or sell it. Sell the company to an American company, a European company, but not owned by a country that could use it to violate national security and millions of Americans' privacy.
Of course, what China has proposed is having it be a U.S.-based Chinese-owned company.
Yeah, okay.
As a dodge, right?
That won't work. Just a few weeks ago, I think it was within the last month, China has actually bought a share of ByteDance, which is the Chinese parent of TikTok, and put a government official on the board. So, let's be clear about this. Either we can't have it here, or let's put it in ownership that we can trust.
But how important is it to repair the relationship with China, given Taiwan, given their concerns over our expanded basing in the Philippines? These tensions can really escalate quickly.
Absolutely, and it goes back to what I said about them not answering the phone. What keeps me up at night is an accident. A Chinese hot dog pilot who buzzes a destroyer in the South China Sea and mistakenly takes the mast off. That's the kind of thing that could really lead to a spiral out of control, and it's very worrisome. I think of China and the U.S. as these two heavily armed giants sort of lumbering toward each other, and neither side wants the war, neither side, it'll be catastrophic for both sides. We've got to figure out a way to compete but not have it turn into conflict.
Do you think President Xi knew about the spy balloon coming on the eve of an important Secretary of State mission to Beijing?
I doubt it. And
you think that the Chinese army, the PRC?
I think somebody made that decision. I doubt that he knew personally. I have no intelligence on that. I can tell you that whoever was in charge of it is probably looking for a job in China right now.
But you think that that government, that huge bureaucracy, is not as solidified as one might expect for a totalitarian regime?
Given the magnitude of everything that they're doing, it would be hard for me to believe that he has absolute knowledge about every single thing that's going on. He might have, but they're spying on us every day. They're gathering data all the time here. Satellites are going overhead, so this is not out of character for them. What's out of character is that we caught them.
Well, Angus King, Senator from Maine, on the Intelligence and Armed Services Committees. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Andrea. Nice to be with you.